Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. Your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, coming to you from an altitude of 5,280 feet, aka a mile high. We look forward to seeing you on higher ground in September, where our guest will be the phenomenal Octavio Terrazas. Will be joining us, first time Mile High, incredible doctor of chiropractic. Glad to see him on stage and so glad to have him on the podcast right now. He's practiced for 32 years, a graduate of Sherman College, 1990. So he's in my generation of graduating from Sherman. He really has the utmost of standards for philosophy, art, and science of chiropractic, which is why we're so glad to have him joining us on this podcast and joining us on stage. Most certainly, if you enjoy the Mile High Podcast, hit subscribe so you never miss any Mile High Tech, just like you do not want to miss Mile High 11. We're taking it one louder. Dr. Octavio, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you for having me today.
We're grateful to have you here and so grateful for you really being such a leader for chiropractic overall and especially in Mexico. Can we start out with something for people to get to know you a little bit better? Share how you found your way briefly into the world of chiropractic. How did you find your way into chiropractic?
My parents are very close friends with a chiropractor in Mexico, and I just loved what he did. Instead, when I was in high school or a little bit before that, instead of going playing out with my friends, I would go to his office and just look at him, follow him. And I was like 15 years old at the time. And I fell in love with the profession. I fell in love with chiropractic and said, this is what I want to do. I was wondered of how he could help patients, the difference that can, a very good adjustment, a very good foundation of what you do can really make a difference in the life of others.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when he had such amazing cases, very difficult cases. And I was like, wow, this is what I wanted to be. So I ended up my high school education. I did my 60-hour prerequisite program in El Paso, Texas. And then I was ready to go to chiropractic school. And then I remember my first day, my showcase chairman was Tom and the registrar at the parking lot. And that was it. That was my welcome to Sherman. So this is so different than what you guys have today. When you go to Sherman and you get received there, oh my God, the school just opens their arms to you. But I felt the same way, When I was in school, I felt like that Betty and Tom were phenomenal people to me. Everybody at school, the teachers, the staff, the students were so good to me that I felt right at home. And I was far away from my family. I could only speak to them every Sunday at night. So imagine no cell phones or anything, but I still had the great time. And then after graduation, a lot of people asked me, why don't you stay in the States? This could be very good for you. I said, no, I know Mexico has the need for more chiropractors, because imagine 20 million people living in the city, in Mexico City, with only probably 30 chiropractors at the time. It was nothing. So I decided to come back to Mexico. And then not only that, I always had the thing in my mind that I should help in the near future to set up a school. And that's what we did. It took us 20 years, a lot of trials, a lot of talking with different schools, a lot of talking with different people that are in the government, convincing people. And then the time came that we ended up setting up a school in the state of Mexico, which is, I don't know, probably an hour from here. And we started the first generation in the year 2000.
Wow.
So I taught there. I was a teacher. It was about, I don't know, 12 to 15 chiropractors that were involved. I was in charge of doing the whole curriculum.
Wow.
Of making sure that the anatomy class that you had to take with the first trimester, and then what you take on the second trimester have to match the hours, have to match the lab hours. You cannot take one and then take another one. And all that has to be revised by the federal government. So I did all that job. I learned a lot.
Wow.
I think I had a lot of experience doing that. And then who's going to teach what? You know, I taught spinal anatomy. I thought physiology. I thought, I don't know, methods, chiropractic philosophy. And then I was at the clinic. I was director of the clinic. When the generations went coming up, it says, who's going to teach what, you know? So that's how we ended. And then I have to be very proud to tell you this. 20 some years ago, now we have 4 schools that from the first one, the other 3 came out. And I don't teach there anymore. I taught there for about 10 to 12 years. And then they were on the way. I still go there very often. They invited me to give a talk, to give a speech, to give a philosophy session, to give I don't know, whatever they need. They know they have it. And I'm very proud to tell you this, that in the 4 schools, they call me to get involved with them. I receive a lot of students in my office when they want to just talk to me or see how I work. So I think this is the little seed that Sherman had on me when I was there 33 years ago. And then that I went down, that I see that about, what would be the number? About 1,000 students graduate every year in Mexico from the 4 schools.
Wow.
So I'm very excited to tell it.
You know, that's amazing. To start up schools, be part of that initiative, you have to really have a lot of passion, and principle, and to bring that energy to that. And hats off to you for doing that. Now I have to ask, I know for you to do that, you did it with very high standards. Otherwise, you're the kind of person that you're going to do something with excellence or you're not going to do it. I know that about you. So
absolutely.
You have very high standards. Why is it important for someone to have high standards when it comes to chiropractic philosophy, science, and art?
I'm going to start with this saying. My dad passed away with the pandemic about 3 years ago. And he was like, he's still my hero, you know, he's still my figure. And he taught me things with a lot of sayings. And he said that what you said. You want to do something, you might as well do it very well at the first time, or don't even try it. And to answer your question is, why would you start something that doesn't have philosophy, or you're not gonna have the philosophy, or have the right subjects to teach, or have the right people to teach? Because we had struggled with some chiropractors that didn't share the same philosophy, which is okay. I know you know a lot of chiropractors that they work with different philosophies, but they're still human beings. They still do chiropractic, you know.
Right.
They're still, I'm sure they still help people.
Right.
So we have to accommodate a lot of people in order to be able to set up a school. And the end mission was to have the high standards. If not, if you're going to have high standards, it's not going to be good. It's not going to end well. People are going to just say, I don't like this, and they're going to retire. But if they see that you are really into it, they also get into it. It's like they get contagious with you, knowing that you're going to do the right thing. And they said, well, he's fine. He must have something going on. So that's, a lot of people has started following us, and that's how we ended up doing it.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding. And a lot of times when people go to many chiropractic schools, sadly, not all chiropractic schools hold the philosophy or the science or art up as high as some. Some hold it higher than others. When you haven't had that experience in school, what do you recommend for people to learn, having better standards for the philosophy, or better standards in terms of adjusting people, or having clinical outcomes, what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend that they become friends with you
Okay.
and listen to you and go to Miles High and go to many other chiropractic seminars that you know where to get that philosophy, science, and art. Not everywhere you can have it. Not every school, you know that. A lot of the, I don't know, 30 something schools that we have out, very few have it. And then I think there's a very nice movement in Mexico. You know, I know you have a lot of friends that are chiropractors in Mexico. They're pretty straight as to how they think about the chiropractic philosophy and everything. And I'm very glad that they do that, because I know that 20 years ago, I had something to do with that, you know? So right now, I'm not kidding. Being able to see what you do every Mile High every year, what chiropractic philosophy is, the kind of speakers that you have, and then I wanted them to get in love with what they listen to, and then a lot of those speakers that you have, we have had them in Mexico too. You know, to bring strong philosophy teachers to give a big speech, strong technique persons to doctors and come and give a big seminar and stuff like that. So we try to bring people that I know that after they've done the work, when they talk to them, when they have dinner with them, when they can talk to them outside the seminar, I know that they're still gonna get that vision and mission to make them be better chiropractors.
Right, right. You know, and I gotta tell you, we went down. It was an IFCO event at Univet, and I was so impressed with the passion of the students that I met at that time. Their enthusiasm and hunger for more was pretty contagious.
Yes, yes, it was good. I remember I saw you there when you were
Yes,
there.
yes.
Yes, we had a good time there. And yes, the students are one of the things that it's not very easy is that students don't have they have Spanish as the first language, of course, but not all of them can speak the English. So I don't know. It's kind of difficult for them to be able to hold a conversation. But you
Right.
know what? They still do it. They still want to do it. They still make the effort to understand what you want. What are you trying to tell them? And they try
Right.
to communicate with you. I'm sure that you have that experience here in Mexico.
Right.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
I always tell them, study more. English is a language that you have to learn, because 95% of the literature is written in English. So you just have to be able to do it. And I understand that now they have English classes at the at the at the schools.
Wow, wow. I didn't know that. That's good. That's great.
Yes.
So with that, what was it? See, a lot of people take for granted, uh, they had the experience of going to school when there was CCE and they knew they were going to graduate. What was it like being in a college at Sherman, late 80s, early 90s, where you knew you were committing to this school and there was some instability? What was that like? What was that like for you in terms of how it increased your commitment?
Well, I never lost the confidence in Tom and in the school.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
then, of
beautiful.
course, I would call my parents and say, Tom told me this. And sometimes I did tell them, and sometimes I did not, because it was like, I have a son in the other side of the country studying chiropractic assist, and then I didn't want them to tell him, well, I have to go back, because I knew I was not going to get back. I don't know why, but I just knew that I was going to be able to finish. I had my class were only 8 people in the class.
Wow.
So the number of students that were studying at Sherman at the time, it was like 102 or 80 something. It
Right.
was so very few students, and you had to be able to do it. You know, I will go to all my classes. I will go to all the seminars. I will go to all the clubs. I was involved in everything I wanted to be involved. I was involved at the WCCS. I was the first Mexican to be at the WCCS right there in Sherman.
Really? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I was the first Mexican to be a delegate of the WCCS. So my confidence, I never lost my faith and my confidence on the
Uh-huh.
school, on the support that I felt from my parents, and the support that I also felt from Tom and Betty. You
Wow.
know, yes. And then only 8 people in my class. It was so nice to be there because they helped me study. They helped me understand better. Um, Being a non-English speaking person, I struggled a little bit, but I was so excited to be there. You know who's in my class? Nailin is in my class. Was in my class. Valerie
Oh,
Pinacchio.
really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So we had a great class, and they helped me a lot to be there. So in order to be able to answer your question, the family situation that I always felt when I was in Sherman kept me thinking that Sherman was never going to close.
Hmm. Hmm. So now you've seen a lot of students come through school as part of educating, part of being involved with the setting up the school. What are some characteristics of um, uh, the most the what are some of the characteristics of the chiropractors that you see that are thrive the most? What are some of their key characteristics that you shine through?
I think the first one should be commitment. In order to be a chiropractor, I think that you should have congruence on what you do. You cannot be a chiropractor and then go out and party all night and show yourself up. You cannot be a chiropractor and be a bad person outside. You cannot be a chiropractor and shout to people on the traffic, because congruence is one of my favorite words in chiropractic. You know, you have to be congruent. As when a patient comes to you, imagine this. This is what I taught to my students. Imagine this person is confident enough in you that he's putting your life in your hands. He's
Right,
putting your spine in your hands.
right,
So do you know how much responsibility that is?
right, right.
It's a huge
Exactly.
responsibility. So I will tell them, imagine that this patient, for some reason, you are not going to see them again.
Uh-huh.
So you have to
I love
locate,
that.
analyze, and adjust you're going to have to give a perfect adjustment, do a perfect analysis, because this is your only chance that you have to make a difference in their life, to change their life. So taking that into consideration, you have to think so great on what you're going to do it perfectly, that you're going to really make a change.
Mm-hmm.
So be confident on what they do, be very thorough in what you do, concentrate on every patient, concentrate on everything that you do at the office, because the responsibility that you have alive in your hands has no meaning, has huge.
Mm-hmm. That's all so important, and commitment, congruence, and I gotta say, I say that to people so often in various things that I teach, that this person is trading, they're putting their trust in you, but then they're also trading time that they could be with their family, with their kids. They could be in any other healthcare provider. They're trading that moment of their life that they're not going to have back, that they took to drive to you, to lay on your table. That's a really special commitment. And, we get focused a lot as, in terms of the finances of our office and are we business-wise successful? If you put that reverence for that person and prioritize them, and realize that they're also not only just, they're trading their time, that they could be doing anything in the world, and they chose to spend a time with you, and they're not going to get those moments back. And they're giving money that they worked for, that they earned to do, and they deserve your best at that moment, whatever that is, whatever approach you use. And people have got to feel that from you, you know?
Yes. You have to give them your best, 100% every time they come to the office. And you know what? After all the years that I've been in practice, I think that I've learned how to listen, to the tiny things that they tell you. You know,
Right.
when a patient comes in, you know, if they're sad, if they're angry, if they're happy, if they came because somebody told them to came. What is the sensation that you get? What is the emotion that you get in the face of the patient?
Right.
And
Right.
write it down. Write it down, because how would I make you feel that if you were sad when the last time you came in because, I don't know, because you lost your job, let's say, and then a month or so when you come back again, I'll ask you, do you have a new job? How are you doing with that? How will I make you feel?
Right. Right.
It's so important.
You're being present with them, right? And you know what's
Yes.
going on in their life.
Yes. And I think that's
And what
a beautiful
doctors do
thing.
that? What doctors do that? You
Only
know?
chiropractors. Only
Right.
chiropractors.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but you have to teach them how to do that. It's not that
Right.
easy. It comes with the years, I believe. And then that patient listens to that. He says, "Whoa," he remembers. Or somehow you become important. You make them feel important.
Right.
And that
Right.
is part of the whole, let's say, adjustment. Why not?
Well, it's part
That's
of the
part
healing process
that's
because they
part of the
have to
healing
feel
process.
safe, right?
Yes.
I mean, let's face it. I know it's better than it was 2, 3 decades ago, but still, people may not have the highest trust in chiropractors. You know, so as a profession, unfortunately, they don't, or even any doctor, they're nervous and they have to have a sense of safety, and that rapport has to be built from your communication.
Hmm. Yeah. Communication with the patient is so important, but also visual. You have to
Right.
be able to look at the eyes of the patient so he can read that you have confidence on him. He can read that you're listening to him. You're not looking on your phone, or I don't know, you don't taking calls. When you're with the patient, that time is for the patient only.
Right.
And you don't know how much they appreciate that. They told me
Right.
that. And it makes me feel good that I practice that way.
Right.
No,
Right.
I take care.
Yeah.
For some
Totally.
reason, I take care of very elderly people. My practice is, I don't know, 75, 80, 85, 90-year-old patients. And I see a lot of them. So they take they walk slow, they don't listen very well, and then they have a lot of emotions. And then when I speak to them, I learn a lot from what they tell me, from their stories and what they've been going through. And that's their philosophy is beautiful. So if you make those people feel important, wow, you make such a difference. And then guess what? My office is full of patients, of elderly patients,
Right.
and it's so
Right.
wonderful to work with them.
And it's about present time consciousness with that person,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So true. So true. And so is that part of, I know for you, impeccable service is important. Is that part of impeccable service? Is there more?
Pardon me?
I'm assuming that's part of your how much you put impeccable service as a priority. Is there more
Okay.
for impeccable service that you could recommend for people?
Always, when a patient comes in, always welcome them. But say the word, hello, sir, Mr. One or whatever. Uh, Welcome up to my office today. Please feel comfortable. Sit down. And how are you? How are you doing today? How was how's your family today? And then you like kind of break up the tension that when a patient goes to a doctor's office, they have that certain feeling that something's going to happen that is not going to be right. And if you break that point, they're just gonna feel better right away. And
Mm-hmm.
the visit will flow like butter, you know. They love to get adjusted, they love how they feel. They will, and then after the adjustment, compliment them.
Right.
Oh, Mrs. Something, you see how pretty you look today? Are you able to stand straight? Wow, you look so pretty today.
Love it.
And
Love it.
and that's very good too. And also, the whole thing has to be very in a very good order to be able to reach that. You know, your office has to be. I mean, your staff has your. You know, I know you have the staff has to be very ordered to be able to for you to work. You know,
Mhm.
uh, don't waste time when a patient comes in or another comes out. Everything is ready for because time is precious, as you said.
Mhm.
I don't know. Sometimes people come to my office. They take them. It takes them an hour and 45 minutes to get there. So
Wow.
you have to try to be on time. Try to be conscious of that, you know. And then when they get in,
Mhm.
listen to them and give them the best adjustment that you can give at that time. And that's it. You're gonna do good.
Wow.
Trust your adjustments too. Always think to students that, well, I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to adjust C5 or C2, and then do some lower work, lower back.
Right. Right.
Less is more. I will tell them less is more.
Well,
So
and so true and so spoken well as a Sherman graduate. You know, I've got to say I'm so thrilled for you to share this kind of message from the stage at Mile High, and we look forward to seeing you there. Can you say anything about what you'll be sharing?
yes, I had several. From the excitement that I really had that I was going to be there, I even talked to you. Said, "What do you want me to talk about?" I said, "Joel, just surprise us." So, out of the 33 principles, what I'm trying to do is to see how those principles also accompany you in everything we do outside, in the family, whenever you go out, whenever you
Mhm.
meet new people, whenever you talk to people, whenever you're having an interview. The 33 principles are always present in
Right.
the life of a chiropractor,
Love
not
it.
only at
Love
the
it.
office,
I
not only
love
at the.
I love that. I'm going to write that down. So important. So important. Well, we look forward to seeing you on higher ground and on stage at Mile High 11. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for your service, helping start a school, helping so many students and doctors keep their standards of excellence high. It's so grateful to have someone of your caliber on stage at Mile High. Thank you. Thank you for
I'm
all
honored. I'm
your
honored to be there. I'm very excited to be there, and I know I'm gonna have a blast. So I can't wait to be there.
we look forward to it. So
Yeah.
keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you on higher ground. If you haven't reserved your seats for yourself and your team, do it. RiseUpToMileHigh.com. You know you want to be there. We'll see you in September.